You're running a business. You're trying to start a new company, but you have to learn how to become a CEO. You have to learn how to be a business person, not just a trader. You have to be a good money manager. There's so many things that people walk into this industry thinking, this is going to be easy. All I got to do is press some buttons. Press some buttons and money just drops into my account. And man, I can go out there and live the fast life. This is so easy. I don't know why I waited so long to do this. When it's entirely way beyond what is expected in terms of what you're going to have to work your rear end for. And immediately, in the beginning, you're not getting that gratification. You're getting no support from anybody. No one's going to tell you, good job, you just did 2.5 hours of back testing. You put some annotations on some charts and journal your observations. Well done. Man, I tell you what, you keep doing this for a couple months, man, there's no telling how good you're going to get. So when we listen to folks in other industries, high yield paying industries, many times folks are willing to go through this level of internship. And for some of you that may not understand what that is, it's basically working your rear end off for nothing because you're just looking for an opportunity to get in the door. And before you can even begin thinking about being a professional trader, you have to treat your early years as development as something much like an internship. You're not going to get paid. No one's going to thank you. No one's going to really appreciate what you're doing. The person that you learned from, they get all the accolades and such because you're just a grunt trying to learn what they produce. And I'm using myself as an example. But I try to encourage the students that are willing to go through that process. They need to be reminded that it's going to be hard. It's going to be thankless in the beginning. You're not going to get a lot of support from your friends and your family and your spouse. And if you make the mistake of sharing this journey or this pursuit with your coworkers, you're going to be the brunt of most punchlines and ridicule because you're chasing a pipe dream that may not actually come to fruition. So when you're first starting out, you have to really warm up to the idea that this is going to take a whole lot more time than you probably think it will. And going through that stage of learning about yourself, how do you do that? Back testing, looking at old moves, thinking about what it is that you resonate with. What type of setup that you find in old price action gets your gears going. And spending time with that, collecting data, collecting information that supports the idea of that particular model being viable for you. And does it really match your personality? And all the while, you haven't even pressed the button to enter a trade yet, not even on a demo. So your internship as a professional trader is an unprofitable venture in the beginning, not in the sense of going out and spending money. That's not where it's at. But the profitability that you find in the understanding and the learning and the grooming that you put yourself through, it's without measure. There's no way of putting a price tag on that type of experience because most people are not willing to go through that. My uncle was a stockbroker, allowed to talk to anybody about buying or selling any shares of anything. He had to do so much cold calling. He used to sit next to low-end brokers that cannot even talk to the potential buyer of the shares and just listen to their pitches. And I used to go to school at the time, computer science, and he was at that job. And eventually, after getting through that internship, he got to the part where he can now start making money. You know what he started with? He started with pitching a company called Action Staffing, garbage stock. He even told me, this is a company that's never going to make any money. And they're trying to get us to promote this to people. And he had a real issue with it. And he was getting a few $100s a week. That's it. Now imagine everybody's expectation when they would hear him Yeah, I'm a stockbroker. Well, you're thinking, man, this is Michael Douglas, Charlie Sheen level, stuff, man. Where's your Porsche? Where's your Bentley at? Where's your yacht and your mansion? And he was literally making less than $350 a week. But he was willing to go through that if it was going to get him to the outcome and that professional status as a stockbroker with a high yielding pay. Ultimately, much like his own trading, he was not successful. That brokerage firm that he was working through actually was shut down. When I was a younger man, I went through the process of getting a commercial driver's license. And one of the things you had to do was, once you go through the process of getting the paperwork and the permits to do so, you join a trucking school. And this is the route I went through. There's two ways of going about it. One, you join with a company and they put you through the mill, or you go through the process of getting out on a range and you go through one skill set per day. And the first skill set that they teach you is straight line backing. That means you get into the tractor trailer, it's a combination vehicle, and they teach you how to stay between two lines, moving 5 miles an hour maximum. So you had to make sure that your tractor and trailer stayed within these two defined lines, back and forth, back and forth. You had to do 10 repetitions of that. Then you would slip seat with the next student and they would do the same thing. And there was groups of 4 or 5 of us. And we did that all day long. It's monotonous, right? But a driver's most problematic time is when he's backing up into a dock, a receiving dock. You don't see very well with it. You have issues with blind spots, and you have to learn how to navigate that. When you are looking for things in that mirror as a truck driver, that's much like the draw on liquidity. That premise of looking for, where should I be taking this tractor trailer? Where should I put that IBC bumper right to some specific location behind the vehicle? And I have to do it in a controlled manner. It has to be at a pace that's safe. That's like leverage. You don't speed, you don't push the accelerator. You make the tractor move faster than you can safely handle it. And you do this skill set for the entire day. And the next day, they put you in a tractor trailer, a different one. Sometimes it was a Kenworth. Sometimes it was a Peterbilt. Sometimes it was a Mack. So it was giving you experience, which changing and shifting gears, and not in just one tractor, but different ones. You would do alley docking. You would do 3-point turns, things of that nature. Serpentine turn, which actually don't even require truck drivers to do that anymore now. But imagine the monotonous task of doing just one thing over and over and over again, all day long. And you're thinking, back then, I was thinking, man, I could be a really high-paying truck driver. If I get my own truck, I could make 6 figures. And that was one of the things that got me interested in wanting to be a truck driver. And once I got the CDL, no company wanted to hire me except for the over-the-road drivers. So I had to submit myself to a company that I drove over the road with them, and they have a trainer. So what they do is they put you behind the wheel of the tractor trailer, and as much as you legally can drive with the hours of service that's allowed for a commercial driver, that's you doing all that driving. And the trainer's getting all the load pay. And guess what I was making? $250 a week. You know how much I was home? Sunday, 6 hours. But my goal was to be a professional commercial driver. Go through the process, get through it, become a company driver, get experience, learn the ins and outs of the industry. I'd make a couple $100 more a week, and maybe get to the point where I'd have enough experience to be able to go out and get my own tractor, and I can do my own business. Okay. So I was thinking over the top, Sylvester Stallone. That was the whole beginning of all that business. I wanted to, this is really cool. I want to do that. Something like that. And the long and short of it is, everybody was trying to talk me out of it. Oh, you're never going to make money doing that. You can't do this. You can't do that. But my goal was, I had to go through that process. I had to go through the process that was required for me to get that skill set. I can still get behind a wheel of a tractor trailer, and one that has doubles and triples. I can do all that stuff. If I had to go back to a working class hero, I could do that. I have those skill sets. I don't carry a full CDL anymore, but I had one that dropped down to for my RB, but I have a Class A that's no air brake, so I don't really need a CDL anymore. So I gave it up now, no a common Class C license. But imagine all of these ideas. I mean, some of you probably listen to me and you think, man, this guy's like, he's never got his hands dirty. He's